Welcome to the first ever episode of Warfaster Revolution. My name is Sedg, and I'm here to bring you some Warmaster battle reports. Now, this is our first ever episode, of course, and we have High Elves versus Chaos, H versus Sedg here. And as we go over the deployment phase, let me talk to you a little bit about what we're trying to do. We're just looking to make some nice, easy battle reports for Warmaster. Just trying to, show people what we're up to here in Australia and Victoria as we look to expand the scene, make it a little bit bigger. And my mate H and I are here playing our game High Elves vs Chaos, playing around with some lists, 1500 points, and we're playing the scenario Capture the Tower in the middle of the table here. Now it's worth different amounts of victory points depending on what turn of the game it is, and yeah, so from there, obviously you don't start scoring till turn 3. So we've got both of our deployments sort of set up there. Here's the High Elf list that H is using today. You can see he's got his General here on a Dragon and a Wizard with a Scroll of Dispelling. Again, pretty standard sort of a tournament list. There he is laid out there. You can see a big heavy cav on both flanks with the Archers and Spears in the middle. Dragon commanding one flank, the Lord in the middle of the other. Here's the Chaos list. Now it's very troops heavy. We only have a General and a Sorcerer here, and you'll see me stuff up my deployment location of the Sorcerer where it can't reach some stuff over here. But you can see a heavy cav flank with all of the units there. 6 on one flank, 2 cav on the other flank, Infantry Corps in the middle, and my Lord in the corner there. So here comes High Elf turn 1, and we can see here some orders straight off the bat. H is moving all of his cav bus here with the Dragon commanding it, gets the first 2 orders off. Sometimes you'll see us just move one part of it, and knowing that they're within range, we just keep sort of doing orders. So here's his 3rd order coming up now, because he got the first 2 already. Boom, he gets it on a nice low roll, comes over the hill here, and is now sort of set up to control this flank a little bit with his helms and chariots over there. So that's really nice and easy. Up comes the Infantry Corps over here with 1 order there. This is me over there. I don't know if you saw that, just realizing my Wizard is out of range of the cavalry on my right flank, so that makes things a little bit more challenging come my turn, but that's okay. Here we go. His cavalry is now moving up, so he's got a really heavy bus over there. Moving up the first, moving up the second as well here. Then he checks to make sure he is outside of 60, so he's trying to get to about 62 centimeters there to make sure that I won't be able to just do a 2-order charge on him next turn. So up come the Reavers, bit of character movement now as well. He actually joined his Dragon to the unit over there on the flank to make sure that if I were to charge him, he would get a standard shoot reaction. So Chaos first, and the first thing we're going to do over here is we're going to try and remember to roll our dice in the container. But, I'll forget most of the time because we're very new to this idea, and sort of playing around with where things can go. And you can see me moving my first bus over here. Now, because I stuffed up the distances, and then came over trying to take a bit of the forest away, and going over there. I'm using the General's +1 command for the turn to be able to move that last bit of cav that's out of range, thinking it would be the safest bet here. And then I split this other brigade up so that way I've got 4 cav on one side and 4 cav on the other side. Tossing up whether I want to go in and attempt a turn 1 charge on 3 orders, and realizing that that would be really not in my best interest to attempt that last roll, needing something like a 5, I think it was. So we pull back here and just sort of set up defensively a little bit more. Get the Wizard here so I can attempt to give the -1 spell on everyone, which I managed to get off, which is great. So -1 commands to all within 30 centimeters. And as I go to end my turn, you might notice my General jumps a little bit here. I forgot to move him, and H was nice enough to let me move him because he hadn't started his turn yet, and nothing else had really happened. So here we go. He's thinking about his cav here. I've poked the guys out of the tree a little bit, so that way they still get defended, but he wouldn't be able to pursue them further, leaving his cav sort of hanging out. So I've sort of protected this flank quite well over here. He decides to pull back a little bit, and then moving all the units over there. Goes for a 2nd order over here with a couple of minuses due to distance and the 30 and everything else. And you see them fail there, so they're going to be sitting there this turn. They are only 2 moves away from my cav bus, so a little bit of foretelling there. So his General then moves his Reavers up here, looking to sort of get a bit more positioning, a bit more aggressive, sort of thinking about, can we get into the flank somewhere here, something like that, try and push me into the into the building, so that way it won't be able to move, and then fails the order here. So we're just moving our characters up now. So his wizard coming up to get in range to do a little bit of spell casting in a bit. And again, he loves joining his dragon into the unit, so he jumps in and joins the unit there, so they'll get a stand and shoot, and his terror-causing +5 attacks hero sitting there protect the unit. Going to pick up some dice, and he's going to try and cast a spell. He loves rolling a 1 for those spells, and then he's going to have a shot with the Reavers here. Managed to hit with all 6 Reaver shots here. This is me disappearing because I have a small child who decided to call out halfway through the game. So anyway, I come back to find he has rolled 6 out of 6 hits with his Reavers. I save half, he gives me a pushback, and I decide to go confused instead of making way with the guys behind. That ends his turn 1. Over to my turn 2. I'm going to make a little, callback maneuver there with the flyers. First order with the cav, shimmy them on up. I kind of realised that if I'd moved the wolves first, they could have fit across there all the way, so I just sneak all those across. Second order, we are in with our 30 centimetres. He gets his stand and shoots there with the dragon, which I managed to save with the Chaos Knights, and in we all go there. I changed my mind on where to put the dogs here after they've charged in and decided to chuck them over there. Didn't really have a good spot. Get the order off with the wizard. The wizard did a lot of heavy lifting this command phase. Get the flyers over the back. Here come the infantry. Don't manage to get the second order off to get them in for the combat as well. And we move over to the general. The general's now ordering a unit of Chaos Knights. Get both orders. Smash into the flank of those Reavers with no stand and shoots to worry about. Move the other cav up and around. So I've basically collapsed the flank that we were in a bit of a standoff for anyway. And then I try and charge them in here and don't make that roll. So they're going to sit there happy as Larry at the moment. Away goes the confused. I'm going to try and get a spell off with the wizard. I think the wizard decides to join the combat up here with the Chaos Knights. I think I'm going to jump in there as I realise I wanted to do that so I could cast the Boon of Chaos, which I don't get off anyway, so it's still an extra attack in that combat, I guess. So I'm going over to the combat phase now. Here's just me hitting in the flank of the Reavers. He manages to somehow, out of 9 hits, make 6 armor saves. Ridiculous. So 5 wounds get through. Then in the next round here, he's just working out how his slide and move is going to go. So he goes back his 5 centimeters for losing the combat. We go in again. We do 10 wounds this time, and H saves none of the saves. So that's nice and easy. We remove that unit. I don't know if you've ever seen a unit of Chaos Knights bounce off a unit of Reavers before, but with my 12 attacks here into the flank... Sorry, kid just got up again, so you can see me duck off, and then I'll sneak back in a second from resettling the child who likes to call out midway through Warmaster games. All you parents out there know what I'm talking about. Here I am in the flank with the Chaos Knights, and if the dice gods decide to punch me here, punish me for disappearing. I hit twice, and he saves 1. He then proceeds to do 1 wound back to my Chaos Knights in the most disgusting display of dice karma for disappearing ever, and you see him pivot back. He had the roll to move back first, and the Knights move back second over there. Then we go on to the big combat here with the flyer sitting behind. I need to win this by just 1 single point to push him back and destroy 2 of these units, including his dragon. So we have some dice rolls going on here. You'll see the wounds start appearing. I got 6 wounds on the chariots. I managed to get only 1 wound on the Silver Helms behind, and then in the far Silver Helms, I try and launch as many attacks into them as I can. He fluffs this dice roll, and I do 7 wounds to the guys down the end there. He then throws all of his attacks back. He's trying to make sure that he does as much damage to this unit containing the general as possible, containing the wizard as possible, which I'm obviously fine with because I want him to hit into the Chaos Knights. They have the best save and everything like that. I don't do great with the dice with the armor saves here, and we take a few wounds there. And you see what ends up happening at the end of this combat is the Chaos lads get up by a grand total of 4. Which is going to be enough to push all these guys back. You see them get blown up by the flyers there if you haven't seen that trick before. I then decide to follow up with the Marauders and chuck the chariots in the flank as well. Chaos Knights slide out of combat and the wounds can drop off there, thus protecting the wizard. And in we go again to then have a crack at this other unit here. I then decide to do a follow-up move into the flank there with the chariots, and everyone else sort of just drops off the back here, which is nice and easy. So they rejoin over there, and happy days. High Elf turn 3. Here we go. This is where the Elves can start scoring the objective if they manage to get anything close enough at the end of the turn. We're just working out if he's in the flank over here, which we determined I think he is in the flank there, but we'll find out in a second. Or maybe he was in the front. That's why he's tossing up whether to go in or not. Just working out. Yeah, so he decides to go in the front there. Now that the front is occupied, he can then, of course, go into the flank with the next groups here, because they can still see, but can't physically fit in the front, which is they're a part of. So we're just confirming that with each other here. So he then comes in the flank there, nice and straightforward. The back unit couldn't quite measure up, or sorry, make the distance, and because of the weird overlapping stuff, and we sort of end up in this slightly awkward situation. But he's got supports now. He's sitting there in the flank, happy to smash me to pieces. So in come his Cav now. So he just wanted to move up just part of it, and then failed the next order with the general, and that was all of his movement for the turn, which was pretty disappointing. He's obviously lost his hero at this point in time too, so a lack of movement over on that flank is sort of really damaging his ability to move. And make his sort of units do what he wants them to do, and then also being caught by the Reavers over there wasn't ideal for him either. So we've got some magic going on now, which I think he failed to cast again. As I say, H absolutely loves failing to get spells off, and we've just got the one combat here in the middle of the table. So I'm making some armor saves there. A whole bunch of wounds go onto my chariots, of course. Then I'm assuming this is my lovely wife has just gotten home with some special treats for us. We are not sponsored by anyone, but if someone wanted to shoot us free flurries, I ain't mad at that, you know what I'm saying? But here we go. So we're just having a little snack break as we load up here for this combat. Try to do some attacks, make some saves, and what ends up happening is that, of course, the Elves win the follow-up combat. I'm going to remove some chariots to make sure that I get pushed in the direction I want to get pushed, which is the direction of not getting destroyed. So I keep that one there, and want to keep all of his stuff nice and centrally bunched around there. So I jump over to there, and then he does his follow-ups, fallbacks, etc, etc. I'm going to throw some more dice. Here we go, having a fallback for the Reavers here. Get those wounds to drop off in a second. Refilling those beverages. Some more attacks, chopping down some chariots, and I try and hit some back and make no progress there. And then we do some pursue moves and follow-ups and fallbacks here. So he's just working out what he wants to do there. These guys could go straight up. These guys then had a flank open there to be able to go up as well. So he had some nice follow-ups there into the flyers. And we fight our pursue round of combat here. So his attackers managed to do some damage there to the flyers on the first one. Then fluffs the second round, and we end up in a bit of an awkward fallback, standoff, draw combat situation there. So I was very happy with that situation. Didn't quite do enough wounds with the archers to be able to take even off a stand of the flyers. So that made things really fantastic for me. And then over on the other flank with the chariots and the hounds against the spears, we roll some dice over here. The damage was significant that we ended up with a nice draw there. I rejoin, and he slides back to move around the side like so, as you can see. I think we didn't quite have anything close enough to score the objective, so we go on to the next Chaos turn. Now, of course, I'm just doing mass charges in here. I'm going to try and make sure that you can see our breakpoint counter down at the bottom of the table here. I am down to, I haven't lost anything yet to get close enough to breaking, and he is down to 2 breakpoints left with a lot of half units sort of hanging around. So I want to try and score the objective, because that's still going to score at the end of this turn, and I want to make sure that I'm breaking the most expensive units when I go to break them, and also the ones that are closest to the objective, right? So here we go, we're all in. Now we're going to try and do some magic, and we don't get it off, I'm pretty sure. So we're just moving on into the combat phase now. And what you'll see here is me counting a whole bunch of dice out for these spears that are completely surrounded. I'm going to make him just roll my dice for his armor saves because there's so many there. Yep, they're gone. He's going to throw some dice back at me. I'm going to make sure I shimmy onto the objective because you need to have 2 touching in contact with it to be able to score. And then I want to make sure that I am killing the Reavers next here to get them away because they're the next closest unit. I actually worked out later I didn't really want to kill the Reavers because the game ended as soon as that happened. And I wanted to push them back. Then I could fall back onto the objective over here and do that side of things. So that's the end of our game here. I hope you enjoyed our first ever Warmaster battle report. If you've got some ideas, some suggestions, some thoughts that you want to chuck in the comments, let us know how we can improve our battle reports. Thanks.